Hello everybody, Tim Campbell here, WRKG355, and I'm here to make another video about GMRS radios. And this video was kind of prompted by a question that came up on one of the other videos, and it was about choosing a handheld GMRS radio. And I got to thinking about it, and what's important to me features wise in a GMRS handheld may not be important to someone else, and vice versa. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover the radios that I have and why I selected those particular radios, features or however I went through my decision process, because I'm one of those guys that will analyze something to death, not make a move, and I delay purchases because of lack of information. So hopefully this video can help you guys out, maybe point you in the right direction and help you make a decision as to what kind of handheld GMRS radio is good for you guys. And today I am rocking some HMX-1 Marine Corps Helicopter Squadron 1 gear. So I am ready to get rolling, and I'm going to show you the radios that I have as far as handhelds. I have the Motorola T600. I have a Baofeng UV5R, one of the 8-watt models, and I also have a Cobra ACXT390. And I'm going to go through why I selected these particular radios, and hopefully that will help you when it comes time to make your decision. So let's get started. Okay, let's get started with the Cobra ACXT390 and why I purchased this particular radio. Now, the reason I ended up getting into FRS and GMRS radios was because four-wheeling. I like to go four-wheeling, and I've always had a CB in my truck, but it seemed like more and more people were starting to shift over to GMRS. And I knew that these radios, or they had FRS radios around, maybe their rigs weren't set up for CB, but everybody has the FRS radios going way back. So I thought I would go ahead and get into that game. The first radio I actually bought was the Motorola T600, but I'm going to talk about the Cobra right now because I was going on a four-wheeling trip, and I forgot my T600s, and I wanted to talk to the other guys, so I had to stop by Walmart and pick up this little beauty. And the reason I picked this is because when you go into Walmart, you'll see them in a blister pack hanging on the wall, and so it was convenient. It wasn't horribly expensive, so this little beauty right here was what I picked up. And it turns out I'm not sorry at all that I bought these. When I was testing out my MXT 400 in my truck, I was driving 4 miles away. My wife was on one of these inside the house, and I could talk to her from 4 miles away. Now, granted, we are in a neighborhood, we're surrounded by houses. She was inside, and we still got 4 miles out of this. So even though it was an accidental purchase, not really accidental, but an emergency purchase, this actually turned out to be a pretty good little radio. So if you're looking for something fairly cheap, yeah, you're just in a Walmart, Cabela's, you could probably see radios similar to this one. It's got, all the features you need. It actually has weather on there, but it's a no frills. This video is not about going through all the features of these radios, but the selection process. And for this one, it was because I forgot my other radios. But these turned out to be a really good set of radios, and not sorry I made the purchase. That brings me to the next radio I want to talk about, and that is the Motorola Talkabout T600. This was actually the first radio that I bought, and this one actually put a little more research in than swinging by Walmart on my way to the trails. And this does the same thing. It's FRS, it's GMRS. It also has another feature that I like, in that it has rechargeable batteries. So I could just plug a USB, the charging cable that comes with it, plug it in, recharge those batteries. I don't have to buy batteries, but if I were to forget that USB cable, you can take these radios, pop the back off, and put 4 AA batteries in it, and you're back going again. And the same with the Cobra. It's got rechargeable batteries in it, But if you're in a pickle and you stop by the country store and you can pick up some AA batteries and you're back in business, if you can't recharge it because maybe you forgot the cable or something. So that's a nice feature in that rechargeable, but you're not stuck with only having to charge it with USB. So let's look at this radio. The other thing it comes with, another reason I got this Motorola T600 was accessories. Being able to buy cool stuff that comes with it. So if you look at it, I not only have the radio, I have the surveillance headset. You can't go wrong with a cool factor of a surveillance headset. And this actually comes in handy when, instead of having to keep picking the radio up when you're on the trail, you can actually just kind of pin this to your seatbelt or whatever, and then it's right there. You can just, boop, talk, and you are good to go. So the Motorola had more accessories than the Cobra. I don't even know what accessories are available for the Cobra, but I knew that this had a lot of stuff you could buy. Other features of this that I really like, it's waterproof. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I know like you guys are probably doing right now. Watch YouTube videos with reviews of radios with features and everything else. So there's plenty of those out there on this, but just know that I chose it because of the waterproof factor, because of kayaking. If you're not going to be around water, then maybe that's not an important factor to you. But for me, I thought it was. It has the emergency light on it, which is a pretty cool feature. I like that. But it covered everything that I needed. It also has weather channels on it, I believe, which I don't normally use that for these, but it's there if I need it. But the waterproof and ability to get accessories was one of the big factors for this particular radio. And if we go over here, we can look at some of the stuff here I bought. It's fairly inexpensive. It's a little more expensive than the Cobras, but you're getting into more feature-packed radio. Looking through all the pictures here. Good stuff. There's a video there. We'll go up. As you can see, this one on Amazon, 3,558 ratings, and it's getting 4.4 stars. Now, when I'm doing my research, that's another thing I look at. I look at reviews. If it has 2 reviews and they're both like super glowing, that might be a good radio, but it also may be whoever is trying to sell the radio is selling you on that product. But here you can't go wrong. Over 3,500 ratings, 4.5 stars. I'll take that as a good recommendation that this is a good radio. Now, this is a good little radio, but it doesn't have, the deeper I get into GMRS. When I bought this, I didn't have a GMRS license. I was just kind of fumbling around in the woods and needed a radio. This fit the bill pretty good. And like I say, the waterproof, perfect for me. Might not be for you, but like I say, think about what you need, what you're going to use the radio for, and kind of buy a little more than what you need has always been my methodology, not just because I like cooler stuff, but because I always find there's probably going to be something I wanted that I didn't even know I was going to need. So I'll add a couple of features in there that maybe I don't think I'm going to use, but a lot of times they'll become pretty important as I go down the road. But one thing this doesn't do, now that I've got my GMRS license and I'm getting more into using repeaters, these are not repeater capable, which is fine when you're talking between rigs up and down the trail, or just simplex running around the neighborhood, want to keep track of each other. So it definitely fit the bill in a very good way, and like I say, the cool stuff. But I needed a little more. Once I got in, I bought my MXT 400 for the truck, started using the repeaters, found out just how incredible it is to be able to talk for 60 miles, like literally, and not just under the ideal conditions that GMRS radios are simplex. Repeaters are incredible. Once you start getting into GMRS, definitely start looking into getting into the community, and repeaters are going to be a big part of that. So that radio does not do that. The next radio that we're going to look at is repeater capable. So let's look at this. And there are some YouTube channels that have steered me in the right direction in the past. So I trust him, and I'm hopefully going to be one of those guys for you guys in the future. So let's look at the Baofeng UV5R, and I can talk about why I selected this particular radio. One, I am going to be getting into ham. I don't have my ham license yet, but I'm working on it, and this is actually a ham radio. It's not Part 95 licensed for GMRS. And from what I understand, some of the new ones don't even allow you to use the GMRS frequencies. But in my case, I have one that does. I wanted the 8 watt. So I bought the max power I could on this one, the 8 watt version. It came with all these cool accessories, the external mic and speaker. It came with the extra battery, which that actually is a very good thing because it's so compact with the battery, the small battery that's on it. I love this thing, and I'll compare all 3 radios in that manner. It comes with a little rubber ducky antenna, which I'm sure is tuned to ham frequencies because that's what the purpose of this radio is. So I set it up for GMRS, and I went out and bought this Nagoya NA771G 462 megahertz, the longer 17-inch, I believe it is, whip antenna, because knowing I was going to use it for GMRS. It really reaches out there. I've been extremely happy with the range of this radio and the reception. Like I say, doesn't seem like the sturdiest built radio, but that's fine because it's so cheap. And it comes with the cool accessories like the external mic, the extra battery. It actually had another whip antenna, but I figured that one was also tuned for a different band, so that's still up there. But it came with some really good accessories, as you can see. Looking at the computer here, you can see all the cool stuff that comes with this one. It's a little larger form factor, as you can see, with a bigger battery on it. It comes with the programming cable, extremely useful. I love using the computer to program radios. It makes it so much easier. I haven't used the hand microphone yet, but I have a feeling that's going to be a good accessory. And it does come with 2 antennas if you buy it from the same place that I bought it from. So very nice, like I say, and it's actually pretty tiny. This is also repeater capable. That was one of the biggest reasons that I wanted to buy this. Not only is it 8 watts, repeater capable. Those were features that I was looking for. If that's not important to you, then certainly you can choose. There are other handhelds out there. Me getting into ham radio, this is going to be useful as well. But if you're not going to get into ham radio, the UV9G might be the ticket for you. Speaking of other YouTube channels, that's the channel that I usually go to when I'm looking. This one is waterproof. It's only GMRS. So if I were going for only a GMRS radio, this probably would have been the route that I would have taken, just because it's nice. And I don't know that any of my radios are ever going to be underwater, but it's nice to know you don't have to worry about getting rained on when you're hiking, or you can take it out in the kayak, which is why I bought the Motorola, so I could go and not worry about dropping it in the water. So here's some cool features on this. You can talk to other FRS and GMRS radios, of course, but if I was going strictly GMRS, that probably would have been the way that I was going, but I wasn't. This UV5R, very popular. Its legality is not, I'm not going to get into that on this channel because, who knows. I do know it's not Part 95. Probably shouldn't use it for GMRS, but it'll do it. So here we are. To summarize my radio selections that I have here, we'll go over real quick just the features of these radios. The Cobra. It was cheap. It was in a blister pack at a store. Did everything I needed to that day. It does not do repeaters. I can put AA batteries in it. It does FRS, GMRS, and weather. So it did everything that I needed it to that day. It was inexpensive. Next was the Motorola. This not repeater capable, but I can submerge it in water. It has an emergency light. It has a lot more features than this little Cobra, but it's still not quite. The more I got into GMRS, the more I thought I wanted a handheld that could hit repeaters. And the Baofeng UV5R, of course, very popular, came about. But if you look at the size of these three radios, and let me switch over, you can see that the Baofeng is actually the smallest of these three radios. Of course, it wouldn't be if I had the bigger battery on it, but I thought it was going to be too big for me to put on my bike when I go out, tooling around Virginia on my road bike. But I think this is going to be great on the bike. So we'll see when the warmer weather gets here. But just to compare the three, repeater capable, not repeater, not repeater, cheap but not as cheap. And the Baofeng actually was the cheapest of all of them, but it is the most feature packed. And this little puppy is 8 watts. So I hope my thoughts on handheld radios has helped you, maybe point you in a direction, or at least come together with a methodology of how you want to select your handheld radio. Like I say, I wasn't here to push these particular models. I do like each of them for the purposes that they've served for me. And look at those reviews. Watch all the YouTube videos on it you can, because I don't want to be the only source for you, because there's a lot of good information out there. Make sure you head over to those other channels and check them out. And if you like what you see here, like and subscribe. I would appreciate that. And I will see you in the next video.
It had something